This is Access 2019 Module 5 Part 13. We are looking at input masks in this segment, and we're going to be using our input mask wizard to format a phone number field. So let's go ahead and get into our before we get into our database, let's take a look at some of the codes. When we get into using our codes, you're going to see zeros in them. Zeros indicate that that digit is required and something must be entered there. A 9 indicates that it's optional, so you can either enter a digit or a space. You will need to specify on exams if all of the digits are required or only some of them. We're also going to look at in this example how we can modify our format after we create it. So you need to know what it is you're looking at. When you look at the format on the screen, you're going to see the backslash. The next single character after that backslash is a display character, but it's only one character. If there is more than one character that are display characters together, then those will be in quotes. So you'll see these as we go through our example. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our patient table in our clinic database. And we are going to switch to design view. Before you do any changing in the design view, you always want to make sure you click on the field that you're trying to change. So I'm going to click on the phone field. Then I'm going to come down to the properties underneath it for the field properties, and I'm going to click in the input mask. You have to click on the phone field first. In the input mask, there's 3 dots that appear over on the right. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to start my wizard. There is this try it area. I don't know why you need to use that. Some people like to type numbers in to see what it would look like, but it is completely optional. In this field, we're working with a phone number, so we're going to choose this top option. And then we're going to click next. All right, so you can see on this screen, it is showing us 3 of the digits are optional, 7 are required. It's going to put parentheses around the area code and a dash. It's also having us select what's called a placeholder character. So, you know, when you click in a field and you see a flashing pound symbol or you see a flashing underscore that shows you where you're entering, that's your placeholder character. So we have several choices to choose from. We're not going to change the options on this, and we're going to go through and change them later. But during the SAM exam, you will have to change the options on the wizard as you're going through it. It's not going to let you create the wizard or the mask and then edit it afterwards. You need to answer the questions correctly as you're progressing through the screens. So if it told you that 10 digits were required, you would have to fix that before you left this screen. If it gave you a different placeholder character other than the underscore, you would have to change that before you click next, or it will mark you wrong. We're going to go ahead and choose next. Now it wants to know how we are storing the information. Are we storing just numbers without all of the stuff in the mask? or are we storing the mask? Now, most people would recommend that we not store the mask because that's just taking up extra space in our database that's not needed. However, that does not mean that that's what the instructions in the SAM exam will tell you to do, so please read those carefully. We're going to choose next, and then we're going to finish. Now it creates this input mask down here. You can see the symbols. The exclamation starts that mask. The backslash says that the first opening parentheses is a display character. The nines mean they're optional. Here we have quotes, and then inside the quotes you have two characters, the closing parenthesis and the space. So since there's more than one display character, they're enclosed in quotes. Here we have the backslash indicating that the dash is a display character. Then after the quote, the semicolon there, you would have a different answer. It would not be blank if you had told it to save the display characters. And your placeholder character, the underscore, is at the end. So you can see how all of that gets created as you're using your answering those questions in the wizard. So let's go ahead and take a look at the changes. So we're going to switch to datasheet view. It's going to ask us to save it. And now you can see it, we need to enlarge the phone number so we can see it all. You can see how it formatted our phone numbers. All right, so let's say we decided to change the phone number. We don't like the way that looks. So we're going to go back to the design view. So what we want to do is, instead of it having parentheses around the area code, we want the area code to just be separated by another dash, like is between the other two segments. We also are going to make, the book doesn't have you do this, but I'm also going to have you make all 10 digits required. So to do that, I'm going to click in front of the 9, and I'm going to delete the opening parenthesis and the slash because I no longer have a display character. I am going to highlight these 3 9s, and I'm going to change them to 3 zeros. And then in between these two segments, I'm going to put a backslash with a dash. Now when I tab to leave the field, you'll see I get a lightning bolt. It wants to know if I want to update this format everywhere that the phone field is used. And so I do. And so then it asks me, where do you want to update this? And it shows me the different places that that field would need to be changed. And I say yes. And now it has updated those. So let's go back into our datasheet view. Again, we need to save it. And now you can see it reformatted it with just the dashes between the two segments. I'm going to close my table, and that concludes working with the input mask.